Travis Wayne Goodsell. Again, now that Judge Campbell is back from vacation after waiting a month with no decision, she's now gone 3 more days past her vacation with still no activity whatsoever. And so I'm sending an email directly to her and including the lawyers for the defense in the case. And so this is the reading of the letter. There are a number of pictures. I had originally thought that I would read, and then when a picture comes up I would insert it into the video. I'm not doing that. It's already 5:30. I've got too much to do today. I'm way behind. Sorry. You can find them if you search through all my other videos, but I will describe them to you. So, Travis Wayne Goodsell versus COP, which is abbreviated for Corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. 220 CV 00633. A copy of this email is not being sent to the clerk's office as Your Honor's Order 26 has wrongfully sanctioned the plaintiff into censorship, Rule 11. But the plaintiff must reach out to communicate, as it has been well over a month since this order as conditions. Since this order, this is why I read, is to make sure that it's edited better. As conditions have escalated for the worse, which events are all evidence for the plaintiff in this proceeding. Because Your Honor did not dismiss as moot the defense counsel's motion to dismiss 12, which was for the plaintiff's original complaint, instead of the plaintiff's ordered 7 amended complaint 8, the deadline 6 for the defense counsel to properly respond has come and gone. So if that doesn't make any sense to you, when I file a complaint and serve the defense, whether the counsel or the defendant themselves, they have 30 days to respond. By filing and serving the defense counsel, they had until November 27th to respond. They responded, but to the original complaint, which had already been dismissed by Judge Jenkins, who later recused himself. Remember, Judge Campbell is the 4th judge in this case. The previous 3 all recusing themselves. And so when she immediately took over, she immediately dismissed my order to recuse Judge Jenkins because she said it's moot because he had already recused himself. Yeah, it was because he was responding to my motion. And so I had filed that. But like I said, she censored me with her order of no more further filings on the docket until she makes a decision on the defense counsel's motion to dismiss, my order for final judgment, and what was the other? Oh yeah, my motion to file a second amended complaint. which I went through after the default judgment. Oh, apparently not. Yeah, okay. I see what's going on here. Yeah. So the second amended complaint was out of frustration for the constant recusals. So yeah. Anyway. It's come and gone. This is why Your Honor's violation of Rule 11 confirms that Your Honor needed to recuse yourself from this case, as motioned by the plaintiff 25 and 29, which the latter was denied filing due to Order 26. See what she's done? Because Your Honor has violated Rule 11 to wrongfully censor the plaintiff in wrongfully censoring the plaintiff, in wrongfully censoring the plaintiff, the genocidal viral weapon has been used by the defendant and co-conspirators to spread and escalate throughout Utah, placing the plaintiff in even greater jeopardy for his life, and used to attempt to tamper with the plaintiff's case and even, if possible, murder the plaintiff. So I word it that way because those come from actual laws, criminal violations, which have previously been mentioned in the complaint. So she knows and understands what I mean by that. So I posted yesterday's coronavirus homepage, main page of the virus, showing Utah in all red and the number of dead, number of hospitalized, number of infected, and added the elderly care facility stats as well. The plaintiff has learned that the coronavirus stats for the elderly care facilities are not being included on the main stats page. Therefore, the number of hospitalizations and deaths need to be added to the main page for a more accurate reading. I found out just the other day, I did the video on it, where there was no deaths on the main page, but 9 deaths on the elderly care facilities. And so it was very clear that they're not including them. The plaintiff is arguing that the defendant is part of a premeditated conspiracy plot to destroy America using this coronavirus as a genocidal weapon. The plaintiff learned yesterday that Mormon Sean Reyes, and then I linked the Wikipedia page for him, specifically his personal life section, thus indicating he's a member. The Utah Attorney General has joined a frivolous lawsuit originating from Texas with 16 other state attorneys general to attempt a coup d'etat of America by invalidating the legitimate 2020 election victory of Joe Biden, which was confirmed yesterday by all 50 states. The press has released that the outgoing national executive has rejected an additional order of vaccines for the American citizenry and is denying the Biden transition team with intelligence briefings as the national executive gutted the Pentagon leadership after losing the 2020 election. I remind Your Honor that the Mormons and the plaintiff have shared knowledge about the Mormon founder Joseph Smith, who prophesied I need to put this in my conclusion. Canandaigua. regarding prophecies. Okay. I put it in quotes because he wasn't prophesying. Joseph Smith had received the information from William Morgan. This is the angel Moroni, who was technically called Nephi by Joseph Smith the whole time, during the years 1823 to 1827, when they got the golden plates. Let's see, Battle 50 states. Biden team, I remind Your Honor, the plaintiff assured knowledge of the founder Smith, who prophesied that the United States Constitution would be under attack, starting with a puppet president in 2017. In the Mormon scripture, the Book of Mormon, the character Lehi has a dream of the Bible's Revelation 12 sign in heaven of the Son of Man, which occurred in the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, the puppet king on Jerusalem. Puppet king on Jerusalem's throne, but I'll say for Jerusalem by the conquering Babylonian Empire in 597 BCE. 1 Nephi 1:4. For it came to pass in the commencement of the first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, king of Judah, my father Lehi having dwelt at Jerusalem in all his days, and in that same year there came many prophets prophesying unto the people that they must repent, or the great city Jerusalem must be destroyed. 1 Nephi 1:8-10. And being thus overcome with the Spirit, he was carried away in a vision, even that he saw the heavens open, and he thought he saw God sitting upon his throne, surrounded with numerous concourses of angels in the attitude of singing and praising their God. And it came to pass that he saw one descending out of the midst of heaven, and he beheld that his luster was above that of the sun at noonday. And he also beheld 12 others following him, and their brightness did exceed that of the stars in the firmament. Revelation 12:1-2. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars, and she being with child travailed in birth, and pained to be delivered. The plaintiff has taken the hard science of astronomy, and has learned that each planet, along with the sun and the moon, appear from Earth to rotate through the zodiac at their own consistent times and rates, such that Jupiter retrogrades within each zodiac constellation for about the length of a pregnancy period. Thus Jupiter is this child spoken of by John. This full conjunction, being repeated in the Book of Mormon, is confirmed as 23 September 2017. And I put the stellarium picture that I've been showing you guys this whole time in there. The Torah story of the Exodus tells of the character Moses, who leads an exodus from Egypt after a virus kills the firstborn of Egypt, and thus the Pharaoh's son, which to the Egyptians meant that the dynasty was over and a new dynasty under Moses began. As of this year, on the evening of the 18th of September, the night Justice Ginsburg, a practicing Jew, died, was the Jewish New Year, which according to the Jewish calendar is 3,333 years since the recorded Exodus. 33 doubled is connected to the Scottish Rites Freemasonry, linked to Scottish Rites, as it is the highest honorary rank, with the double eagle in their seal. Albert Pike's letter to Giuseppe Mazzini, and I put the whole text in here for her. I'm not going to read that for you. confirms the infiltration of the Illuminati into the Scottish Rite in America and their intentions to overthrow the world and establish a new world order with the pure doctrine of Lucifer, which the plaintiff had established was the defendant's religion, needs to be after in his complaint. Had established in his complaint 219 CV 0071 was the defendant's religion as the sign of Lucifer of the Illuminati are carved in stone on the defendant's Salt Lake Temple and in bronze on the Eagle Gate at Temple Square over State Street. So I show the temple door and the Eagle Gate. I did put Eagle Gate, right? Yes. This plot is no longer to be considered a hoax or fake news, as it has been instigated, as the Mormon founder again knew of the plot to unleash a viral weapon in 2020 by this Scottish Rites Illuminati. Doctrine and Covenants 45:31. And there shall be men standing in that generation that shall not pass until they shall see an overflowing scourge, for a desolating sickness shall cover the land. The coding in the Book of Mormon for the date of the viral weapon is a bit more complex than the outright date in 1 Nephi 1 for the year of the usurping president. And I show the total solar eclipse on 8 April 4 AD. On 8 April 4 CE, a total solar eclipse swept into Russia. On 8 April 2024, 2020 years later, another total solar eclipse crosses America's 21st August 2017 total solar eclipse. So I put the, I need to put, oopsie-daisy. Okay, I need to put the one in 2024. Okay. So this is why I do this. And this is too vital to national security to make errors. April 2024, there it is. I should put in, notice that it's the sign given by Revelation. So let's do that right here. Notice that the sign on 8 April 2024 comes from Revelation. And we should go to Revelation. Whoops. Trying to think of keywords for it. And so, okay, so there's no 26, so therefore it's 22. No, that's the bright morning star. Oh, crap. Alright, let's cloud, horse. There we go. Jeremiah. As the clouds in his chariots shall be the whirlwind. Okay, let's heaven and horse. There we go. White horse sat upon, yep, 19. And I saw heaven opened. Behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon it was called True and Faithful. I'm trying to figure out how much I should put into the followed him out of his mouth, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. We'll just do the one verse. And remove the footnotes. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was clothed faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. War? Seriously, you're not going to read that? That's a word? Alright. As 2017 is the established year given seriously at the beginning of the Book of Mormon, the book also tells of this birth that this birth is to occur instead 600 years after 597 BCE, which is 4 CE. For 2 Nephi 25:19. For according to the words of the prophets, the Messiah cometh in 600 years from the time that my father left Jerusalem, and according to the words of the prophets, and also the word of the angel of God, his name shall be Jesus Christ, the Son of God. 3 Nephi 1:12-15. Now it came to pass that the 91st year had passed away, and it was 600 years from the time that Lehi left Jerusalem, and it was in the year that Laconius was the chief judge and the governor over the land. And it came to pass that he cried mightily unto the Lord all that day. And behold, the voice of the Lord came unto him, saying, Lift up your head, and be of good cheer. For behold, the time is at hand, and on this night shall the sign be given. And on the morrow come I into the world, to show unto the world that I will fulfill all that which I have caused to be spoken by the mouth of the holy prophets. And behold, I come unto my own, to fulfill all things which I have made known unto the children of men from the foundation of the world, and to do the will, seriously? Both of the Father and of the Son, and the Father because of me, and the Son because of the flesh, and behold, the time is at hand, and the night shall be the sign be, and this night shall the sign be given. And it came to pass that the word which came unto Nephi, words which came unto Nephi were fulfilled, according as they had been spoken. For behold, At the going down of the sun, there was no darkness, and the people began to be astonished because there was no darkness, when the night came. In astronomy, the above sign, 23 September 2017, is seen around the world so that when it sets in the west, in one land, it is rising in the east in another. The Book of Mormon also prophesied, in quotes, the 2020 election lost by the usurping president. This is going to take too long, so I'm just going to tell you the reference. 3 Nephi 7, 1 through 12. It involves King Jacob. Jacob is Hebrew for usurper. The secret combination who murdered the prophets, taken from that reference that I didn't read to you, are the Scottish Rites Illuminati of Brigham Young, as the plaintiff had also filed in 219 CV 00711 the evidence carved on the Nauvoo temple that was rebuilt by the defendant according to the original design of the original Nauvoo temple, dedicated on 1 May 1846 on the anniversary of the Illuminati, 2 years after the assassination of the Mormon founder who was the mayor of Nauvoo and a presidential candidate running as an abolitionist, and his brother Hiram. And I spelled it Hiram, and then in parentheses spelled Hyrum. I should put popularly spelled. Popularly spelled Hiram. And then a picture of the Nauvoo temple and a close-up of the inverted pentagram above the sunstones. It is Russia who took as their seal in 1917 the 2 eagles of the Scottish Rites. And I show the seal. It was over Russia that the total solar eclipse occurred 2,200 years from the one in 2024. It is Russia whom the Senate Intelligence Committee concluded put Trump in the presidency in 2017, as Russia convinced many Americans, including my very own neighbors, to, quote, be a Russian, then vote Democrat, end quote. Then I show a picture of a couple of knuckleheads for Trump wearing that t-shirt. And one of them, of course, is wearing the MAGA hat. As you can see, the other MAGA hats and behind them, the mark of the beast in the forehead, if anybody's wondering what that means. And it is the defendant whose newly incoming and still current CEO who revealed the compromised relationship with Russia in the last session of the defendant's April 2018 General Conference, and I post the link to his talk from the church's website. As Max Roth of Fox 13 News Utah exposed in May, the compromat by Russia to the defendant of $32 billion in January, which the defendant laundered for Russia into the stock market at the beginning of that year. I post the picture from the video. Also, during this unnecessary delay on 20 November, 2020, the CEO of the defendant ordered gratitude, quote unquote, to heal coronavirus rather than using the corporation's wealth, influence, and resources to actually do charity for which their articles of incorporation claim to do. I put the picture from the church's website with the caption, "The Healing Power of Gratitude. Watch the video." Yawn. 6 o'clock. On 5 December 2020, the defendant's apostle, Dale G. Renland, was reported as testing positive for the virus. Both he and Garrett W. Gong, who earlier tested positive and has since recovered, got infected by attending church meetings. Because the defendant refuses to close down the whole operations, again, to save lives. And in parentheses, pushing instead, quotes, gratitude, end parentheses. On 8 December 2020, Renland posted on social media the need to attend the temple rather than updating his status as one who tested positive by attending a public event, public religious event. And most notably, Renland is a former doctor, just like the CEO, Russell M. Nelson, and in his post set aside his former position and spoke in the office of his religion. So I put the picture of the two combined together that I showed you in the video last night's breaking news. Today I speak to you not as a former physician, I speak to you as an apostle of the Lord Jesus Christ. Like you, I am grateful. You can tell he was forced to make this. I'm going off script here. The breaking news yesterday of him doing this the day before, because Exmo Lex found it, and it says 1 day ago when it was posted, which means it was the 8th. That was the day that I told you he hadn't replied. Gong replied, and there was a statement by the spokesperson 3 days after Gong got infected. Nothing for Renland until this that I found from Exmo Lex. And here he doesn't give his status. He says he's a physician, but he's speaking as an apostle. And he mentions gratitude, which November 20th, Nelson comes out, healing power of gratitude. I am grateful. Oh, is he being healed with gratitude? Is that what he's doing here? This post on social media is his attempt to cure himself? But then says, we have to keep the temples open to do the work for our kindred dead. Yeah, the work's all done. We're duplicating it a billion times over. The whole thing needs to be redesigned, if not done away with, because they completely went off base on what they were doing. And I know because I am one who had done my genealogy. On the 1st of January, New Year's of 2000, I went into my mom's room. I saw her with cards at the computer. And what are these? And she said, oh, those are ancestral names for genealogy and then to do temple work. And I wanted to be involved, and so she gave me a line to work on. And so yeah, I got my own program, my own computer, and did my own thing. And as I found out, the program allows for duplications as too many programming errors. They did fix much of it, but still problems. Anyway, and so yeah, this little post by Renland, he was forced to do this. He's on his sick bed in the hospital, and here he is saying, I have gratitude. Go to the temple. I got sick by going to church, so go to the temple. I mean, this is horrifying. While on his sickbed, Renland promoted the Phase 3 opening of more temples as Utah and America. Phase 3 opening promoted with, quote, gratitude, unquote, the Phase 3 opening of more temples as Utah and America and the world are suffering from a worsening virus. And so I show the little caption from the church site. Some temples will soon begin Phase 3 of reopening. What does this mean? And they show the Salt Lake Temple. I'm pretty sure that's, well, maybe not. Maybe it's, no, it's not the Salt Lake Temple. It's one of them where they have the two spires on top. So it could be any number of other temples who have that design, which depends on the architect when they come out with new temple announcements. And then I show the picture that came from the release to all the news media about the escalation of the virus over the months, and showed the last one here. It's almost all red. The places that are not red are places where there are no people living. It's that simple. The defendant and their state of Utah executive co-conspirators are literally murdering the citizenry. Have I talked about Cox and Herbert? I have not. Oh, yeah, I put the Crossroads of Totality. I didn't tell you I put that in the 2024 picture and the 2017 picture. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I didn't. Okay, so do I need to fix this? The defendant and their state of Utah executive co-conspirators. No, that's understood, as Herbert and Cox, are literally murdering the citizenry to get financial gain by refusing to shut everything down and give all the citizenry emergency food, hygiene, sanitation, and internet communication and other utilities in residences with all bill payments suspended, not a furlough to be paid back at a future date. As a result of this genocidal attack, anti-maskers influenced by Russian propaganda are demanding to commit suicide and murder, and businesses are suing to receive money for their failing businesses. The defendant and the state executives are extorting death threats to the citizenry, forcing them to work rather than staying home to stay safe. And after the slaughter of returning children to school, parents again are threatened to quit work to stay at home with their kids, or abandon their kids to go to work to obtain money to care for their family. As the plaintiff submitted a brief to the court, 30, which Your Honor posted on the docket but refused to file, the co-conspirators, Valley Behavioral Health and Danville Development, were mentioned as assaulting the plaintiff, which could not be reported due to Order 26. The plaintiff learned in November that the Department of Workforce Services, from the department, that Valley Behavioral Health had contacted them in early October to alter the plaintiff's address. The new address is now the plaintiff's ex-wife's residence. In frauding a state government agency and tampering with the Federal Mail Service, Valley Behavioral Health exposed themselves as having plotted to kidnap the plaintiff a month after the filing of this complaint. The plaintiff has already submitted the threat to do such an action, signed by Samantha Hansen, property manager for Danville Development. Last week, Stephanie Jones of Danville sent the plaintiff, put in me, paperwork informing him she is now his personal property manager, as Samantha is still the property manager for the building. Valley Behavioral Health also posted shutdown orders for the plaintiff's building. And I put the picture, attention residents, this property allows essential visitors only. Examples of essential visitors: nurses, CNAs, home aides, necessary housekeeping, services, food delivery services, oxygen of prescription delivery services. Valley Behavioral Health, however, is not following their own orders and putting the plaintiff and the other tenants at risk by continuing to send a caseworker who is not an, quote, an example of essential visitors, end quote, to occupy the front office. As a reminder, the plaintiff's previous case, 219 CV 00711, connected the defendant to Valley Behavioral Health through a financial connection with the plaintiff's 2008 arrest and indefinite detention for submitting a state petition for redress of grievances. The plaintiff showed evidence that he is not only discharged from Valley Behavioral Health, but that he is labeled as independent living and residing in independent living. Yet Valley Behavioral Health is threatening the life of the plaintiff by sending an assisted living caseworker during a viral pandemic, and when Valley Behavioral Health themselves shut down the building to all unnecessary workers and visitors. The defendant has provided more than sufficient evidence to the plaintiff's case, and thus the plaintiff cannot comprehend why Your Honor continues to hesitate to render a verdict for the plaintiff, other than Your Honor is indeed compromised and must recuse. But like Judge Jenkins, Your Honor has tampered with this case with an unnecessary delay before recusal, one that costs an exponential amount of damage every further delay. Damage and death. every further day of delays, which makes your honor part of the co-conspiracy of the defendant, and thus must recuse. Must recuse. The world and Russia are watching this case, and everyone now knows your honor has been compromised too. So this is where I'm going to put in the Canandaigua and prophecies thing. The dates for the president taking office and the release of coronavirus stated above are not to be understood as religious, mystical prophecies No, that's correct. You don't put the C when you put E's at the end. It's only for prophesy. I need to correct that, Google. The plaintiff has submitted information about the keystone of Mormon history. Being the city of Canandaigua, New York, in 1826 with Joseph Smith Sr., Heber C. Kimball, and William Morgan. It was Captain William Morgan who came to Canandaigua to Smith Sr., the Master Mason of the York Rite Lodge, to assist him with the writing and publishing of his warning message book. Anti-Mason movement. No, that is not a typing error. That is correct. Of 1827 was in response to William Morgan being secreted out of America for his safety by the orders of Smith Sr., who took over the finishing of the publication, retitling it the Book of Mormon. Heber C. Kimball is of the Scottish Rites, who reveals, and we should put that revelation from Heber C. Kimball. Heber C. Kimball. Come on. Why are you giving me grief? We need to go to Masonry. That he knew Smith Sr. was the one who protected Morgan and wrote his warning message in his stead. Heber being Brigham Young's Scottish Rite Illuminati partner, infiltrating the Smiths organization to overthrow it. Take it over. To be the doctrine of Lucifer, spoken of by Albert Pike. Above. Okay. The dates for the president taking office and the release of the coronavirus stated above are not to be understood as religious mystical prophecies. The plaintiff has submitted information about the keystone of Mormon history being the city of Canandaigua, New York, in 1826, with Joseph Smith Sr., Heber C. Kimball, and William Morgan. It was Captain William Morgan who came to Canandaigua to Smith Sr., the Master Mason of the York Rite Lodge, to assist him with the writing and publishing of this warning message book. Technically 2 books. The Anti-Mason movement of 1827. Why aren't you recognizing that spelling? was in response to William Morgan being secreted out of America for his safety by the orders of Smith Sr., who took over the finishing of the publication, retitling it The Book of Mormon. Heber C. Kimball is of the Scottish Rites, who reveals and then I put the link, that he knew Joe Smith Sr. was the one who protected Morgan and wrote his warning message in his stead. Heber being Brigham Young's Scottish Rites Illuminati partner, infiltrating the Smiths organization to overthrow it and take it over to be the doctrine of Lucifer spoken of by Albert Pike above. Smith Jr.'s claims to finding the Book of Mormon plates under a stone as his claimed method of translation of such Egyptian documents, of such Egyptian plates, was in the plates by placing them in a top hat and putting stones on top of them. Let's see. Smith Jr.'s claims to finding the Book of Mormon plates under a stone as his claimed method of translation of such Egyptian plates being similar by placing them in a top hat and putting stones on top of them is from the highest rank of the York Rites, being the Knights Templar. Of the Holy Grail fame. Used by the Smiths as their cover story. Okay. Smith Jr.'s claims to finding the Book of Mormon plates under a stone as his claimed method of translation of such Egyptian plates being similar by placing them in a top hat and putting stones on top of them is from the highest rank of the York Rites, being the Knights Templar of the Holy Grail fame, used by the Smiths as their own cover story. I need to put in, let's see, the defendant has provided more than sufficient evidence for the plaintiff's case. Though much more can be presented for explanation of the historical threat. Though much more can be presented for explanation of the historical threat. But is not presented herein. And thus the plaintiff cannot comprehend why your honor continues to hesitate to render a verdict for the plaintiff. Let's reread that again. The defendant has provided more than sufficient evidence to the for the plaintiff's case. So the defendant are the ones who are doing the actions which are the evidence against them. Though much more can be presented for explanation of the historical threat, historical threat origins, but is not presented herein. But is not presented herein as not necessary at this time. And thus the plaintiff cannot comprehend why your honor continues to hesitate to render a verdict for the plaintiff, other than your honor is indeed compromised and must recuse. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's now 6:30. Alrighty. I think that's it. I pointed out the church's further escalation. I pointed out Governor Herbert and Cox. Did I point out let's see, the press is already, let's see. Lawsuit originating from Texas with 16 other state attorneys general to attempt a coup d'etat of America by invading the legitimate 2020 election victory of Joe Biden, which was certified yesterday by all 50 states. Despite threats from Trump supporters to elections officials and even GOP government officers. Despite death threats to elections officers and even GOP officers and their families. Press has released. Okay. Alrighty. And message is sent. Alrighty, so now I'll make the video, and an hour? Oh.